been so long, folks, but I just got back from Duckburg dealing with all of my parking citations. Welcome to the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Dan Lunn, and with me is someone that doesn't really need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. He's back from the vaults for a limited time only, and okay, I kind of flubbed that one. I had a good one. Let me try this again. Back from the vaults for a limited time only, and for the low price of $0.00. You wanted him, and he's back. Owen Callais. Welcome, Owen.
Thank you, Stan. That was such a great introduction. Man, that was great. Thank you so much.
I flubbed it a little bit, but I'd say I recovered. So welcome back. It has been a very long time since the last time you were on. I think we determined it was either the Jailbird review or the comic book review for Liquid Diet.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's good to be back.
So what have you been up to?
So I graduated from my university.
Congrats.
Thank you. From there, I started working on a few productions. I did a project for the NFL. I did a couple of short indie films. I started teaching high school, so I have 100 and something students now.
So they call you Professor Callais now.
Not quite. I don't think I've earned the professor title yet, but some of them do call me Brofessor. Because some of them think I'm a cool dude or something.
Well, you are.
Yeah, and now I'm on a road trip. I'm currently in Texas right now, and this time next week I'll be in Colorado.
Ah, nice. What are you doing out there?
Just visiting some friends. I have some friends studying in the state park, so we've been hiking, and then next week I'm going on another hike in Colorado. So it's a lot of hiking and hanging out with friends.
All right. Any new Darkwing merchandise that you've gotten in the last few years?
No, I haven't. I've been meaning to catch up on the comics, but I don't have a local comic book shop, so it's been very tedious to try and grab a copy because I like to have a physical copy. I don't like reading digitally.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, so I might wait till a trade paperback comes out if one does come out.
Well, based on that comment, I'd say you haven't caught up on episodes yet.
No, I haven't. I'm not caught up.
Yeah, there is a trade coming. It's going to be coming out.
All right.
I want to say in August or September. There's actually going to be 3 different versions of it: a paperback, a hardcover, and a signed hardcover. That'll collect the first 6 issues, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah, I've ordered all 3.
I'll be ordering that too.
Yeah. So I guess that negates my other question. I was going to ask if you'd read any of the new comics yet.
No, I haven't. I haven't really had the time between the traveling and the teaching. When you sign up to be a teacher, you don't realize how much time is dedicated to grading and handling all the situations and issues. And I recently started a club on campus, so I've been taking on a lot of extra responsibility with that.
Yeah.
So I haven't really had a lot of free time for anything lately, reading or playing or anything,
Yeah. Well, I think I'll give a quick update about myself as well real quick, because since the last time I was on an episode, I turned 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel old.
It's not that old.
No, not that old, but still kind of feel it when I get up in the mornings and whatnot. But that's actually why we didn't have an episode this past Monday, because I was too busy to be able to get an episode recorded. But we're here now, and we do have a comic to review. But before we get into what that is, a little bit of Darkwing news that came out today. Yeah. Now, this came out very briefly, and I'm not sure of quite the validity of this info, because Duck Talks posted about this, but the links were taken down, unfortunately. But for a very short time this morning, the new Diamond Select Darkwing Duck figures went up for sale. So I think someone jumped the gun on when they were able to post them for sale because, like I said, the links on Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth were taken down. But we gleaned a little bit of info. It's going to be a Darkwing and Negaduck 2-pack, so you're going to get both of them for the low price of $49.99, which is a great deal to get both characters and all the accessories and hands. And it sounded like it was supposed to release in November of this year. So not too far away, folks.
Nice. I'll definitely be picking that up.
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw that this morning, but I didn't know the leaks were taken down.
Yeah,
So I did
they
see it.
unfortunately were.
I almost pre-ordered.
Well, if I'd been home at the time they popped up and got a chance, I would have pre-ordered in a heartbeat. I'm not missing out on that one.
Yeah. And it makes you think, because it's a 2-pack, maybe they'll release more. So
I
maybe
hope so.
fingers crossed for a Liquidator, Bushroot, Megavolt,
Quackerjack, Taurus Bulba, Morgana, yeah. Gizmoduck. Maybe not Gizmoduck. We've had him. I kid. I'd obviously love another Gizmoduck figure. So for today's comic review, we're going back in time to May of 1992, this issue of Disney Adventures, which has Arnold Schwarzenegger on the cover.
Yeah.
The Schwartz.
The Governor.
Yep. And this comic is called Sara's Invention. Now, obviously, with that title, we can infer that it does star everybody's favorite inventor, Dr. Sara Bellum. Now, this comic was written by some royalty. Brian Swenlin did the writing duties. We actually have seen him work on a few major comics before. He actually was the writer on Liquid Diet, as well as part 2 of Just Us Justice Ducks and Sleep Duckling and Flower Power, which is like a really small Darkwing comic. But he's actually, very well known for having, I believe, writing duties on the Darkwing Duck show. Either that or he was like a story editor or something. Along with him, Kevin Campbell also worked on this for writing. He also helped write Liquid Diet, Just Us Justice Ducks Part 2 as well. In terms of the artwork, it was done by everybody's favorite artist, Kasum Cordery. We've talked about him many times. And Wanda Gattino also helped with the pencils. And they previously popped up for Darkwing on Salad Days, as well as the 2-parter What's the Problem? And Mondo the Mad Mask Misappropriator, which is a one that we haven't actually covered yet. But we will at some point. But yeah, royalty, right?
Oh, yeah. So it's funny because reading this, I felt, when you read comics of shows or spin-offs, sometimes the dialogue doesn't always match the character from the original work. And reading this, it helps that the writers from the show have also written this comic because I feel back in the show. Like this would be another like short segment or something. Because I felt like that was Darkwing, and sometimes when I read or I watch some things, I'm like, maybe that's not Darkwing. But reading this, I was like, that's Darkwing, that's Launchpad, there was a line in here I'll talk about when we get there. I was like, that's Goslin, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So should we get right into this?
Yeah, let's get started.
So we start with an actual prologue. And we start at S.H.U.S.H. and we see the Thunderquack parked right out front. And Jay Gander's talking to Darkwing, talking about how he apprehended the Mentone Magnet within hours of his prison escape. Which was pretty easy for Darkwing to do, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's Darkwing.
Well, not only that, but it also helped that, the Mangler was robbing the photo stop right when they were leaving with their pictures they got. I also love, as you said, Darkwing does sound like Darkwing. 'Twarn't nothing, Jay Gander. Though I will mention to start with, that there are some art mistakes, and this panel actually is the first one where the band on Darkwing's hat is not colored in. It's one of a few. Like, I think also his eyelids are uh, a little weird there too, aren't they?
A little bit. It's a little hard for me to tell on my screen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
So yeah, but of course Darkwing says to Launchpad, no one needs to know that part of the story. Did you say something, Darkwing? I was saying S.H.U.S.H. can count on me to find its fleeing felons anytime. But Jay Gander says it won't be necessary once Dr. Sara Bellum completes her work on their robo-napping operative technology, which is model number 2, or the R-Not M2 for short. Clever little word dag there.
Yeah.
R-Not M2, R-Not M2.
I didn't pick up on that until like a little bit. I was like, okay. I don't There was a little ways in the comic. I was like, how did I not catch that before?
Yeah. So we see Sara Bellum working on this giant hulking machine that's got like it's got a jaw that kind of reminds me of the He-Man villain Trap Jaw. It's got like treads, instead of feet, and giant claw arms.
Yeah, the head kind of reminds me of a dinosaur.
Yeah.
With its snout. And there's something I want to point out by the time we get to the end. But I'm interested to know what model number 1 looked like, and I'll talk about that why when we get to the end.
Yeah. And we notice there's a dial on it and a little slot at the in the middle of it. But Darkwing's not impressed. Oh, please! This mere machine is going to do away with Darkwing Duck. But Jay Gander informs Darkwing that it's not meant to replace his crime-fighting service, but rather to complement him. Darkwing, though, is not taking this, is he?
No, not at all.
Yeah, he thinks it's an insult instead of a compliment. So, of course, we get Sara Bellum saying, "Okay, Mr. Smart Guy, if you're so confident, why not assist me in a little demonstration?" So, she wants to see if the R-Not M2 can nab Darkwing. Which, Darkwing says, "Sure, why not? I can take this time to further my felon fighting faculties." I love that the alliteration is here.
Oh, yeah.
It's so Darkwing. Of course, Launchpad reminds Darkwing with, "Gee, DW, Goslin said she'd glue a watch to your forehead if you were late for her play tonight." "Not to worry, LP. I'll knock this thing on its digital derriere faster than you can say curtain call."
So great.
So apparently, R-Not M2 needs a picture of the subject it's tracking. That's what the slot in the chest is for, is to put photographs in. We're talking physical photographs, folks, not digital photos that everybody has nowadays.
Right.
So Darkwing just happens to have some pictures LP took of him skulking on the rooftops. But he accidentally hands another photo in with the headshot of him, of Goslin, looking kind of Darkwing-ish herself, holding a dagger.
Mhm.
"Be careful, that roll has some pictures of Goslin's dress rehearsal on it." Yeah. So then she needs to set the difficulty, and Darkwing's like, "Huh? I need to tell the R-Not M2 how dangerous you are." Of Darkwing's the most dangerous thing out there.
Yeah, of course.
But Darkwing says to Jay Gander, "Would you be so good as to remind the doctor who caught and delivered the Mentone Mangler to S.H.U.S.H. just moments ago?" Oh, actually, I skipped over a part. Basically, the highest setting is for the Mentone
Right.
Mangler. and apparently there's a setting for someone called the Leningrad Lunch Money Bandit. Yeah, Sara Bellum says, I was thinking more along the lines of the Leningrad Munch Money Bandit. Or who is the guy in Duckburg with all the parking citations?
You know,
I
little
feel.
Duckburg reference.
What?
Little Duckburg reference.
Yeah, I feel like that might even be a reference to something specific that either happened in DuckTales or maybe something in an episode of Darkwing, but I
Yeah,
can't really remember.
me neither.
But yeah, Darkwing asked Jay Gander to remind Dr. Bellum about who caught the Mangler. So Jay Gander says, It's true, Dr. Bellum. Darkwing Duck was most certainly a match for the Mangler himself. Well, if you say so. Oh, the hubris before the fall.
Oh yeah.
So they end up going to what they call the testing room, which apparently is the basement because Dr. Bellum has already blown up the testing room. That is so her.
Yeah, of course.
And she blew it up testing the R0 M1. That being said, she says, that place was a death trap. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. But Darkwing, he needs to hurry this up because he's got to get to Goslin's play.
Yeah.
So she activates the R0 M2 and it turns on and claims that it's functional, to which Darkwing's like, ooh, I'm scared. Eat web kick, you top-heavy tin toy, as he tries to kick it, which kicking a thing made out of metal, not a smart move, Darkwing. So the M2 R0 or the R0 M1, I'm going to get that mixed up a few times, I think, scans Darkwing, and I love how in its eyes you see one side is Darkwing, yelping in pain, but the other is a mirror flipped image of the photograph that was fed into him. Nice attention to detail on that. And the R0 M1 declares, match has been made. Files indicate enemy is extremely dangerous. He must be nabbed. And it shoots a net at him, which captures Darkwing. Exercise complete. Enemy has been nabbed. So Darkwing admits he may have underestimated the mechanical fellow, but escapes from the net. And we do get a I am the terror. Do you want to handle this, or would you like me to?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go for it. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the glitch of justice in the program of crime. I am standing over here, Bolt Brain.
Yeah. Yeah, the robot has tried to crash where he thought he was, but Darkwing wasn't standing in the smoke. Way to go, DW. It's not over yet. The R0 M2 is loaded with the latest weapons, as he demonstrates by getting his knockout darts ready and aimed, and firing them. But Darkwing is able to block those with a broom. Whew, that was close. Pretty impressive, but now I am forced to foil you with my fiendish foil. Engard! And the robot immediately activates a sword and slices the broom in half. Darkwing then proceeds to ask, maybe we could settle this with a nice game of cards. So what's your favorite game? Mine's Go Fish, as he jams a bucket full of water over the R0 M2's head, which causes it to fizzle and short circuit. But it's not out of commission yet. Now it's decided that it's no longer wanting to nab, it wants to kill, which is definitely a bit more on the dark side for Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
You don't hear a lot about people dying in the show. I mean, it does happen. It has happened a few times, but it's somewhat rare.
Right.
But Darkwing at first doesn't notice. He's like, well, that takes care of Sparky here. Until he gets shot with a missile, and blows him through the wall. So what happens next?
So he uh, R
R
the
not M2.
R not M2 blasts a hole through the testing room, the basement, and so Darkwing is trying to taunt it, trying to set it up in a trap.
Yoo-hoo, Sparky! I've got batteries! Uh, so he tricks him into a jail cell, doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
That ought to hold him. Well done, Darkwing. You've defused another dangerous situation in record time. But that does remind him of something, doesn't it?
Gosling's play.
Yep. So Darkwing and Launchpad rush to get to the play. Meanwhile, Dr. Bellum's saying, "Did they hurt you, baby?" Then we get a nice shot of the Thunderquack flying over the city of St. Canard, and they're going straight to the school. Darkwing's going to change into his Drake outfit on the way, but we got problems back at S.H.U.S.H, don't we?
Oh yeah.
What has happened?
The robot broke out of the jail.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. But we now cut to Gosalyn's play recital, and Gosalyn is dressed in, like, I'd say it's a cross between a dress and a burlap sack, holding a very crooked dagger. Is that a dagger I see before me or what? Unfortunately, we got a, and we can see, before I mention that Drake and Launchpad are in the crowd. They made it. But unfortunately, someone else has crashed the play, hasn't they?
Oh yeah.
Yep, the R not M2. Enemy cannot escape. Scanning mode activated. You again? Unfortunately, he picks up on Gosalyn being an enemy this time because of the extra photo that Darkwing accidentally put in there. And he's still malfunctioning, wanting to destroy enemies instead of, capturing them. And Gosalyn's got a great line here, doesn't she?
Yeah. So the first panel says, "Geez, everyone's a critic," which I think is so in tune for Gosalyn. And "Hey, metalhead, you're ruining my opening night."
As she uses what I'm assuming to be a rubber dagger to try and stab through its head.
Yeah.
But Darkwing is on the scene, tells Gosalyn to get out of here. And he uses a photo. He spots a camera hanging around what I'm assuming is either a parent or a press person's neck. And he's like, something to salvage the sinister situation. Let's get dangerous. And we get one of Gosalyn's catchphrases. Amazing. A comic from back in 1992 can get this right, but so far the Dynamite series hasn't. Cool beans! Darkwing Duck to the rescue! So, what does Darkwing do here?
He takes a picture of R0 M2 and puts it into the slot for the robot's target. So basically, the robot will be targeting itself.
Yep. R0 M2 is enemy. All enemies must be destroyed, and it basically blows itself up. I do love Darkwing's line to it, though, before he does that. "Hey, Sparky, say cheesy. I think you're about to become your own worst enemy, Tinhead." So later on, we get back to S.H.U.S.H, and Darkwing has delivered all the broken parts, and we see Gosalyn's with him. And Sara Bellum's, of course, heartbroken over the loss of R0 M2. Meanwhile, Jay Gander saying, "S.H.U.S.H shows you a great thanks, Darkwing." "'Tweren't nothing, Jay Gander." But Sara Bellum asked Darkwing if he'd mind helping her with another test. What is this other test?
R0 M3.
Yep, and what's this one look like?
Looks like a bird. Looks like a vulture.
Yeah, it sure does. And Darkwing is so over this, he smacks himself in the head and promptly fades. And we end with Sara Bellum looking to the camera and said, "Some people have no sense of adventure." And that's how that story ends.
Yep. So,
So pretty good story, wouldn't you say?
oh yeah, I definitely think it helps with the writers coming from the show onto this comic. Helped with, I guess, the continuity of the characters themselves, of how they act, with their dialogue. I think that just it made the comic much more much better than it could have been. Also, I thought this was an interesting detail, and this is why I made a note. I wonder what model number 1 looks like, because model 2 looks like a dinosaur, model 3 looks like a bird.
Right.
So you have that like that evolution like theory where the dinosaurs evolved into birds. So it's like, wonder what number 1 looked like. Was it like a tribali or like one of those like horseshoe crabs? I doubt it, but like
Maybe, you never know.
yeah.
That is once again, that's something maybe the Dynamite series can revisit, because there's no reason to say they can't revisit some of these old ideas.
Yeah.
So what really stood out to you about this comic, and what would you rate it?
Hmm. We're still going over 5 gas gun canisters.
Yep, 5 gas gun canisters.
All right. So I'd say my only issue with it would be that it's too short. I think that'd be my only issue. Um, I think the method of defeating the robot was very interesting, very clever. I think like I said, the continuity for the characters and their actions and their dialogue was amazing. And the artwork overall, it's very good.
Yeah.
So I'd have to give it I'd say a 4.
All right. And anything else in the issue stand out to you, or not really?
Um, Other than what I've said just now, not really. I mean, I think the artwork is great. I think the designs for the robots are great. M3 and M2 are great. Um, I didn't. So when I was reading it, I know you said there were a couple of art mistakes. I um I didn't pinpoint any at first couple of glances. Uh,
Right.
but so the fact that it didn't stand out to me, and I kind of like nitpick and or cherry, I kind of nitpick. So the fact that I didn't notice it, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. In terms of what I would rate this one, I would also give it a solid 4. I think it was really well done, done by 2 masters of the craft that know Darkwing very intimately. All the characters sounded on point, it seemed like something you would expect to happen to Darkwing. It was very nice to see Dr. Sara Bellum. She's very underutilized in a lot of the spin off material, which is too bad because she is such a great character. I mean, who can forget, that one episode where Gosling's tagging along? She's like, "Who is this pushy kid?"
Yeah.
You know, Jay Gander, of course, being in top form. I thought the way they defeated the villain was very clever. Couple minor art mistakes, take it down a little bit, as well as the fact it is fairly short. Though it's still a decent length. I mean, there are some Darkwing comics out there, and they're single page in length. We haven't actually tackled many of those for obvious reasons, but yeah, I'd give this one a solid 4. Now, how would you rate the villain?
The villain, he's look, he's no Megavolt, he's no Negaduck, he's no Liquidator. But the concept was pretty interesting. When I was reading it, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but he reminded me of the robots in The Incredibles. The one
Ah,
that
the Omni droids.
I thought that's what they were called. They were the Omni droids. I was thinking Omni, but I was like, there's no way. But yeah, you're right. It is Omni droids. So the robot in here really reminded me of the Omnidroids and the Incredibles. Obviously, this had come before, like 10, 12 years prior, but
Yeah.
it I that's what that reminded me of. So um, on a scale of 1 to 5, like I don't know, maybe a 2.5.
Yeah. I'd say about that as well. Maybe I'd even bump it up to a 3, though I will say I actually wasn't reminded of them for this character. I was actually reminded more of Armstrong from the old DuckTales episode.
Oh, that's another good one. I didn't think about that one.
But you know, he was fairly plain, unfortunately. I would have loved to see him in action a bit more. He was defeated rather quickly, though. I will say it was a pretty ingenious way he was defeated, though. So he gets some points for that. But yeah, I think I'll go a 3 for him.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, that's our review of Sarah's Invention. You know, uh, We are the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. You can find us on all podcast apps and YouTube. Do you have any shout outs to give, Owen, or do you have anywhere that folks can find you if you want to be found?
I am shout outs. You know what? I'm gonna shout out my students will probably never see this, but I'm gonna shout out my students anyway. Uh, you know, they're great. Sometimes they give me some some discipline issues, but they're great, and I couldn't have made it this far without them. They're a lovely bunch, and I can't wait to further. Even though I don't teach them uh, all the 4 years of high school, some of them have joined my club, so I'll still be seeing them around. So this is a great group of students that I see. As for any handles, I am on Twitch at Walker Republic. On Twitter and Instagram, I'm Owen Callais. And that's it for me.
All right. In terms of shout outs, I've got 2 I want to give. I want to give a shout out to Tiffany Silver Braun, who's been helping me with a lot of co hosting duties as of late. And I also want to give a shout out to you, Owen. Thank you again for being able to take time to come and do this with me. It means a lot.
Of course.
And in terms of places where folks can find me, you can find me on my YouTube channels, DMC Jedi Man and DMC Jedi Man Gaming. And you can find me on Facebook, Stan Lund. Just shoot me a message and let me know you're coming, as a fan of St. Canard Files, because I do kind of vet who I let join and whatnot. But, those are places I can be found. Any closing thoughts or...
No, man, it's been so great to talk to you again and to be on here again. I've missed this community. It's something that I've been wanting to get back to into again. I've just missed this so much. So thank you so much for inviting me on. I really had a great time talking about this with you.
Well, thank you for joining me, and until next time, folks, stay dangerous. I gotta go pick up my prints from the Photoshop.
Stay dangerous.